comes in is that this, as you all know, this is another community down here. This is a whole nother community. And it has to be taken that way. I take it that way, and my approach over the next several years, should I get reelected, that's later on, we'll see what happens with that. But my approach is to approach this just like Bel Air subdivision, the Meadowview subdivision, the Country Air subdivision, Kingston Green subdivision, Canterbury subdivision. We have subdivisions. This is the David Webb Senior Living Complex subdivision, if you will. We have 75, thereabout, families and homes and things like that we attend to, just like we have that many in these various subdivisions. So what you say here as a community means a lot. So I don't take any of that for granted, and I process it that way, that the things that you have concerns about are things that we need to fix and we need to work on. That's the whole purpose of me being here. That's what town hall meetings are about. That's why you have them. So we can get down to the business of what this community needs more of. And so it'll be my goal going into the next budget and things like that to find out what the needs are. And some of you wrote those things out. So we'll get right into them, and we'll try not to get too sidetracked with anything. You can make some additional notes, but I'm going to try and answer some questions, and if we have room for your additional notes and questions, then I'll answer those questions in addition to what we have here. So we have 16 of them, so we'll go down the list. Real quick, one other introduction. This gentleman here, his name is Derek Champion. He's the new city administrator for the city, and he also is the economic development director. So the city has added another arm and extension to how we govern and how we manage. So he's an extension of me. A lot of times what I do right now, I'm handling more operational things in the street, and he handles most of the administration of the government, as well as he's handling development. So now economic development is being dealt with much better, and certainly administratively, a lot of things that I don't get to, he's making sure administratively they move every day. And while I might be in the street with public works or the police or fire, he's back at City Hall making sure that things are constantly moving on our behalf. That's what good government's about. A lot of towns have city administrators, village administrators, city managers. We have probably our first city administrator that I can remember probably in over 40 years. And Ms. Blair would remember, she was there for many years herself. So that's why I said what I did to her when she came in, because I've been knowing her for that long. So she worked at City Hall for many years. So that's what government's about. Okay, give me 1 second, and I'll go back to your question. Hold it for 1 second. You got it. The other introduction I wanted to make, if you all didn't meet, we have a media team that will eventually help us deal with our cable channel that's going to be put out and launched for you all to see the local government cable channel. You'll be able to see city council meetings and the like. This is Michael Taylor. Michael Taylor is media relations, and he does a lot of things whenever Channel 2, Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 9 comes out, or the media with Tribune, the Sun-Times, and also the South Suburban News. He is involved a great deal with South Suburban News, and he runs that. The other person with media is Mr. Rick Foy. He handles a lot of the IT for City Hall, as well as he handles a lot of the camera and video and all that with the television with our Markham media channel. So that's a part of our media team. We have some photo people as well that are on the staff with us too. So we're putting those things together so we can make communication better throughout the city for everyone. So with that, let me go. But the first question is, when will a light pole at 155th and Kedzie on the north side of the street be installed? And so what I will tell you is that I will make arrangements for that right after today, because I didn't know where we were going to put a light out there. I knew we wanted to put a light out there, but that seems to be where everybody wants. So after this meeting today, putting a light pole in is nothing to it. It's a matter of just going ahead and doing it and scheduling it. So I'm sorry it took for you to have to write me this to tell me to do it. But I have to be honest, I was trying to get a list of these things anyway, of some things that we need to do. So number one, Ms. Kim, you won't let me forget that I have to call ComEd. Well, we won't be calling ComEd, we'll be calling Todd up to come out with Edmund and Company is what they're called. And we'll come out here and we'll size up where that light and maybe some other additional lights in the area. We'll put more than the one up. Okay, so we'll put some lights up. What I was trying to do, to tell you the truth, this is how I think. We'll put the lights up, but I really don't like those ugly telephone poles. I would hope that we can get a metal pole or something nice or something reasonably that we can decorate instead of some telephone pole. I would prefer metal, some of the metal poles so it looks nice out there as well. So we'll work on that, okay? So that's what we really want to do, Ms. Kim. We'll put a metal pole up. The next thing that we'll do, it says it's PACE planning to put up a bus shelter on 155th on the north side of the street. There's been no, again, that was something I wasn't aware of. Has there been any talk about that, Ms. Kim, down here?
About 2 years ago.
Okay, so is there a real need for that, would you say?
Yes, some of the residents, they take the bus over there.
Do they catch the bus over there? Oh, then we can talk to them about a shelter and we can pay for that. So
they got it up on this, what's the east side?
Is there one on that side? There's not one on the other side?
Right.
Okay. All right, so then we'll need to do that.
Okay. I know PACE was involved, it was a contact, but Ernestina didn't remember who the contact was.
No, we got the contact for doing that because we did the ones on 159th down there. Those,
okay.
We had all those installed down there.
Okay.
We work with IDOT to do that. This is a county road out here, so we'll work with the county in doing it. Okay, the next one is, can we get sidewalks installed from the senior building all the way to 159th? Where Mr. Champion?
Oh, he just walked out.
Look at that. Me and him had a conversation about this morning, about a sidewalk right out front here, all the way to 159th. Now, we do have sidewalk across the street, but we don't have it on this side of the street. So let me just say this much. Mr. Champion, we talked about sidewalk.
Yep.
When we talked about sidewalk, we said that we would look into federal funding.
Yeah, so it's 3 levels of funding that we can look into. One is federal, the other is state, and then the other is county. So it's 3 different levels that we will look into.
So we'll look into to doing that. But what typically happens in some cases, on this side of the community, we don't have storm drains. They have open air drainage. So we'll have to see how that would go along with the flow of how water is moved around. We may have to go over some of the area with have culverts put in and different ways to handle the water and then put the sidewalk in. But I'm sure it should be reasonably doable. And certainly if we tell them that you all asked, we said that seniors asked about it, they usually move a little quicker, and you've got those politicians, they move real fast for you all. So we'll make sure we let them know that. The next question is, can we get a generator for the building? We've already started that, didn't we?
Yeah, so I'm meeting with Codes Mechanical this Thursday.
Okay.
They gotta actually put a quote together.
Okay, good.
So they're coming out this Thursday.
So that was something that I think a lot of us were all reasonably surprised about, to not know that the facility hadn't been set up that way when it was built. Sometimes you'll have that happen and you don't find out until there's a crisis. And that's kind of unfortunately what happened for us. So
yeah. And I think it would be worth looking into getting like solar would be great in a situation like this. So we can have our own energy source. And there's a lot of tax credits and maybe grants available that we can look into, but solar would be a great option for a building like this as well, as, for a contingency plan.
Okay, very good. I would think that we would want to see if we can power like that anyway. There's a lot of things that the government does in terms of, like Mr. Champion said, with green initiatives, they call them. So Those are things that we would want to do in terms of handling power and that kind of thing. So that's a good thing for us to do. Okay, the next question is, when will we start the assisted living facility? Will there be any additions to the senior building? Well, the process for the assisted living facility was to be built back here, and as far as I understand, they are working on all the preliminaries for trying to build an assisted living facility, which means that if you can take care of yourself a little less than you can now, then you'd be able to go over there and get someone to help you a little more. That's what, obviously, that would be, that type of facility. One of the things that I wanted to see us have here, though, as well, was either in addition to this building or another building as like this building, but would have bigger living spaces. Excuse me. Bigger living quarters, like 2 bedrooms instead of just the 1 bedroom, that kind of thing. And then the other thing I would like to do, in which one of the questions on here deals with parking. I'd like to see that we have some indoor parking or small parking garages or covered parking shelters that you would be able to have on the west side of the property, where you'd be able to park your car in the winter and that kind of thing. Excuse me. And so, the next question, trying to move along here, we got a lot of them. It says, we would like to know when we would get security back on a regular basis. We need security at the building. As far as I know or I'm understanding, have we still entered into some talks with this lab?
We know Gerald will call me back.
Okay.
To see if he's interested.
Okay. So we are working on trying to get some security back at the building, some additional security. I think that the policing, in my opinion, the policing is improving in the community. So I can only tell you that when your front yard and your backyard is kind of like where you're situated here, is the way it is, and you don't have, well, you got some neighbors around you, but you don't have a whole lot of neighbors like you in the neighborhood, and we're all mobile to see what's going on. The policing has improved in the last year and a half. Certainly in the last year it's improved for sure. That's because we've made a lot of changes to policing and the way that it's done, and certainly some of the personnel in the police department has changed too. So those are improvements that are making it better. And so a lot of times it's good to have security. The additional security would be great, and we're working on trying to make sure we get some additional security for you to have it down here. That feeling or sense of security means a lot to you all, as it is for me. It's important that we're able to provide that. Okay. Okay, this was an interesting question. Is there anything we can do about insulated walls? You can hear things, especially from the bedroom, when it's quiet, real quiet at night. And I think that we can probably start talking to contractors about what kind of things we can come up with. Thank you, I was kind of thinking that. I think that's where that cough was coming from. I was like, getting a little dry, starting to talk about it. Okay, thank you. So I think that we can start talking to contractors and what they can do to try to fortify your apartment, each individual apartment, to where we can get more insulation between the apartment units, so you can sound deaden and that kind of thing, your apartment units. Make it a little bit more private for you. So we'll work on that. Sometimes in construction, they think about it, but then they don't. And maybe in some places it's not as bad as others throughout the building. But wherever there is concern or complaint, we'll address that, and we'll start talking to some contractors about how they can insulate the walls a little better or something. Maybe they can poke a hole in the walls, and we can insulate the walls that way with foam and different things like that. There's things that they can do nowadays where we can make the walls better. We'll talk about it. It'll take some money and some time, but we can do it. We'll budget for working on it, so that'll be something to be part of our budget and our plan going forward. Okay, you all got me drinking, got my throat going here, so okay. All right. So, the next question. I mentioned something about jobs for seniors during the last campaign. Are there going to be any jobs available for seniors? I still want to see us do that for those that may be interested, is that we make up obviously it's going to have to be after this pandemic, because I want to be careful myself. I have I'm a diabetic, so I'm very careful about that. That's why I go back and forth with this mask as well here. So I would want to wait till then, and then I would like to, the same way we formulated questions today, I'd like to get some of your ideas for what any of the senior workforce can do in the city. Maybe it's around the city, or maybe it's something in City Hall, and what your interest might be. And let's be reasonable, because nobody's trying to work all over again. We're just trying to give some reasonable hours of service, and maybe you make a couple of dollars doing it or something, and you come back and you can use it at bingo. I didn't say that, did I? You wouldn't do that down here, play bingo for money, right? No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, it'd only be a penny or a quarter anyway, right? So, but anyway, so if I can get any of you all to submit your work ideas, if you have something that you would have an interest in doing, perhaps you can give me some ideas of what you may want to do, some filing or answering the phone and different things like that. Something that's, maybe you might be involved with some different tours or things like that around the city. Who knows? We can come up with a lot of different ideas. And whatever your expertise was, remember, a lot of you retired and you gave a lot to doing different things in the community. Maybe we can create something. All right? So think about what you used to do and what you enjoy. I'm sure we can use that in the community, and we can use it back in City Hall. And we'll make a senior workforce, and we'll come up with something together. Next question is, I know the notice said no rent increase. How much do you think a rent increase would be in the future? Well, I don't know what that would really mean or what that would be as far as any increases. Right now, there are no increases. But I know that the way that the rent is structured here is that it includes everything. And so, obviously, if the water rates go up from Chicago, the rates go up on us. So a lot of times we pass that on in one way or another. I know we can't pass a whole lot on to you because you're on fixed incomes. So we have to try and work with you. So we'll figure out how we can be fair with those things. But obviously, there's always a little bit more cost to things, and that means that, I don't know, does Social Security ever go up? Do they give you changes in Social Security or no?
1.5% increase maybe.
That's what they do? Is that what Social Security does?
Mm-hmm.
And Health and Human Services.
Oh.
And new pay.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Well, we'll figure something out that's not going to, that's not going to harm anyone. So that isn't the intent. We want these years to be good where you're not really trying to struggle and trying to figure all those type of things out. And we don't want you to have to choose, obviously, between certain costs that you have to live and certain costs for other priorities that you have. So we'll work those things out with you. It says, what are some of the nonprofits in Markham area that are open for volunteers? Well, I don't know all of those things. I need to research that one a little bit. I'm not sure about some. I don't think we have enough groups like that in the community. I think that we're trying to get to more places where we have different groups that we can point you in the direction where you can volunteer your time. But certainly, just like we talked about trying to do something at City Hall, as far as the workforce, maybe some people aren't really looking for pay as much as you're looking for something to go down there and give you time toward. I know there are a lot of things that we probably can come up with where we can have not just a senior workforce, maybe we have a senior advisory group that does different things for the community as a volunteer basis. And so we can use your knowledge and your wisdom and your expertise of the things that you used to do, and maybe we have different things formed up to where we can use your advice and you can volunteer your efforts that way. But again, why don't we get those things back to Ms. Kim again of what you think that might be? What would you like to volunteer your services to do? What would you like to see your time going towards in some effort? There's a lot of things that you can maybe you're just advisory, or in some cases maybe you might physically do something more in a volunteer group. It just depends on what you can do, but let's have a list made up of what that consists of. So get back to Ms. Kim about that as well. Okay, we're moving along. It says, it was asking a question about what are some of the challenges you must go through to start a nonprofit in Markham? Well, I think that anybody that wants to start a group, and if you want to make it a formal nonprofit, then you'd have to go through some things, probably in the state. Or
there's about 13 steps that you have to take to start a nonprofit, and just to go over a few of them. One is you have to develop an idea, first of all. The second would be you have to do your research. You have to figure out if there's a need for this organization. Also, and then you want to see if somebody else is doing something similar that you can kind of partner with in case they can open up another arm here. Step 3, you will have to create a name and register that non-for-profit. 4, you definitely would have to have a board of directors. The 5th step, you will have to incorporate the nonprofit, and you have to look at what the state requirements are to set up the nonprofit. You have to file your articles of incorporation with the Secretary of State. Step 6, you will have to file for an employer identification number. That form is an SSS form, and I can send all this information to Kim as well. And then there's bylaws that you have to have. You have to apply for an exempt status, like a 501(c), of course. Then there's a charitable solicitation permit, and then you have to get a business license, and of course open up a separate bank account as well. So just some of the high-level things that you need.
So those would be some of the things, obviously, if you want a formal nonprofit. But if there's some things that if you're just really trying to formulate a group, a volunteer group, it doesn't have to be that formal all the time that you set it up that way. If you're looking to get involved with something, that's one thing that might be established in a nonprofit somewhere. Or if you're trying to form your own, and you've heard all the steps you may need. And then again, if you're trying to do something informal and you just want to develop a group, then let's talk about it with Ms. Kim or City Hall and what that group might be. Maybe there's some different groups that could be formed within the senior community here that we can talk about. So we can try and put something together. Okay. I think this was one of my favorite questions. Okay, well, it was, I always find the political process to be very intriguing. One of my favorite classes in college was political science. And I like the art of politics more than anything. So it is a science because it has a behavior, just like well, I was a fireman for many years, and fire is a science as well because it has a behavior. And so that's why I find politics very interesting. So the question was, how does one get involved with political systems in Markham? Is it just a Democrat and Republican system? Well, obviously, a lot of people even that are going to run in the upcoming election, I'm filing as a Democrat. But I've in the past filed as an independent. And I think that probably a lot of my views are really more independent than they are Democrat, to be quite honest. Because in some places I'm sure just as well, and I would imagine a lot of you are probably more conservative than you've ever been. And most Republicans are conservative, but we don't want to run around saying that a lot of times because we might offend someone or somebody's party or something else. And we don't want to be offensive to other people. But our views often are on both sides of the aisle. Most of the time, you know, depending on what you're talking about, you wind up in the middle of the road on a lot of them. So, but how to get involved with it is basically, obviously, the mayor and the alderman and the city clerk and the treasurer, we all are involved in some element of politics. So, as like even right now, I'm involved, as of tomorrow, I'll be filing to run for a re-election for another 4 years. Hopefully I've done enough somewhere. If I didn't do enough down here and you take it for a ride, I'm gonna fix what you got here, but I better try and impress you around town with some other stuff. Otherwise I'm not gonna get back in. But the point is that I'm involved in a campaign now, so between now and March, so obviously this is not a political speech I'm making, I'm making some understanding about how you get involved with it. So for me, I've got a campaign office that people can get involved with. Obviously, I'm going to have people running against me. You can get involved in their campaign. Now, I would discourage that. I would tell you, don't talk to those people. But in any event, you can get involved with anybody's campaign, and that's how you get involved in the political process. Should you want to make phone calls or go talk to people or different things like that, that's how you obviously do it. If you wanted to volunteer at my campaign office or volunteer at their campaign office, you know, that's how that works. But so that's how you get involved, and that was the question. So I'm not politicking, so I want to make that clear. But what I said about not talking, no, I didn't say that. You could talk to anybody you like to. I would only joke about that. So it says, thank you for replacing the carpet in the hallway. Will we be getting new carpet in our bedrooms? At what point can our units be repainted? I'd like to work going into next budget that we revisit on a priority basis of what units are in line to get repainted or recarpeted going into the next budget. And we start working on that throughout the whole building. And we keep that on a rotational basis to where it's ongoing, to where we keep the building up that way. So in that way, you're always, you know, in a nice new facility. So that's what we want to do. So we'll work on that with Ms. Kim at budget time, and we'll get that started. And so don't get mad now if your unit didn't get done right away, okay? So I'm just going to tell you, you got to be in line, and your unit may not. It's just like I fix streets out here. They'll say, well, why did you fix my street? Well, it's because your street wasn't bad as somebody else's street. Same thing here. If your street ain't as bad as somebody's street here, your street ain't getting fixed in here, okay? You'll be next, but we'll get to you. So that's how that works. And that, by the way, is part of the governmental process as well, and the way you fix things. Not political, but governmental fixing things. So we'll do that with painting and carpet in the next budget. It says, can we get undercover parking spaces in the back of the complex? There are quite a few visitors parking spaces that are not used. I think we can look into that.
That's just right here.
Right, sooner than later. In the back, we can look in the next budget and try and start looking at that now. In the rear of the property back there, to try and get some covered parking spaces to keep the snow and the elements off, and that way you can park under something. You don't have to brush your car off every time you go out. You just have to walk a little further to get to your car. But we'll have to make sure that we can start looking into that budgeted item as well. And I may have, did I pass over anything that will we retract, yes, things I had?
No,
Okay.
no.
The next question is, Canterbury Mall looks very empty. Will there be any new developments? Well, I'll just mention one thing, and then I'll let Mr. Champion talk to you because he's dealing with economic development. We do have some good things coming into the shopping center as well as the whole community, and I'll let him go ahead and respond to that.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you all again. I've been looking, kind of scanning the room since I've been here, and I was thinking about my mother because yesterday marked 9 years when the angels escorted her to heaven. But she reminded, just seeing you all just made me reflect on her, but I'm really grateful to be in front of you all. One of the things that we are doing, one of the things that the mayor and I did when I first got here, we hired another commercial broker to help us find businesses that would be well suited for Canterbury Mall. We understand that there is a lot of vacancies. We are working with the ownership group. We are looking to bring in restaurants, a fitness center, maybe even some type of satellite school from one of the local campuses as well. But we are looking to other restaurants, sit-down restaurants in the city of Markham. So there's a lot of great things going on. And because Amazon is here now, there's going to be a lot so the phones are ringing. So we are definitely, COVID has kind of slowed some things down, but we are definitely working every day to make sure that we're bringing some viable businesses and restaurants to Markham. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to City Hall. But we will, especially on our council meetings, I'll try to give updates as much as possible just to keep everybody in the loop. But business development is definitely on the top of the food chain.
And it's coming.
Yeah.
More and more is coming. That shop center will be doing well. Me and Mr. Champion were on the line with business development this morning, and there isn't a day that doesn't go by. And one of the things that everybody always asked about is restaurants and the like and things like that. We had 5 restaurants, I think it was 4 or 5 of them that came in at one time. And there's some of them in Chicago, and they came in to sit with us and show their interest in coming into Markham. And they brought us some food too. We should have brought you on some of that food. It was good.
Yeah.
But a variety of restaurants want to come in, and so it seems like it's really our time. And it's not just our turn, it's our time right now where good things are coming to the community. And I'm just really glad that that's happened for us. So development's on the way.
That's correct.
And we found something at the big magnet, that big Amazon that they're building is really drawing people to it. So
Right.
we'll take it how we can get it. So that worked out fine for us. I'm grateful for it. Okay, last question I have on the list, it says, when can we get an elliptical machine for the fitness area? There isn't one up there?
It's got 3 bikes and 2 treadmills, but it's a cost, so I just have the budget for it.
Yeah, we'll budget for the
Next
elliptical.
year.
Okay, so that seems like something we can do. I think that we probably can get that donated.
Yeah, right. I was just going to say that.
Oh, that'd be great, too.
So I would definitely work to try to get something donated. I think that's the feel-good story,
Yes.
especially during this climate that we're living in now. Somebody should be knocking down our doors to
Somebody
to
can
do
do
that.
that.
So we will look into that.
Yeah, we can look into
Derek, you
that.
gonna look into that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so.
Yeah.
So-
You got me,
Yeah. Oh, no, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since we have about 10 minutes or so here to get the next group in, that leaves a little room for, did you have anything to recap before we do any questions?
Just to kind of piggyback off of some of the things that we've been talking about, because Amazon is here now, and we're really booked in between 3 major highways. You have 294 and 80 and 57, and a lot of people, they know that there's a lot of opportunity because of the traffic from all the jobs that are going to come out of this 24-hour fulfillment center that Amazon has here now. So there's a lot of great things happening. So as things time is passing on, especially in the first quarter, we're working on a quality of life plan, and part of that plan is new businesses, focusing on our education, and focusing on some of the quality of life that Markham really needs. So as far as our parks and everything else, so you all are a part of that process. So I just wanted to let you all know that.
All right. So with that, it looks like everybody had some pens and some papers, or some of you did. So we'll take another 5 minutes if you have any other questions. There we go, we got a question.
Down in front of the building where the cars go out. Straight down going west from here, it's a corner that's coming off, I guess it's an old school down there, but they just was recently in the neighborhood filling in the black car, I don't know what you call it, streets, right.
Yeah.
And they came down as far as the housing development a little bit in, but they left all the broke up rocks and stuff going toward the street. You know, down, that's 55th, 155th Street going west is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Going west right off that corner is a row of houses that's all rocky. Anytime we want to take that back road coming into this parking section, it's just horrible.
I thought it was paved already.
No, we fixed that.
No, they stopped way almost less than a block from that street. And the school going, that would be 154th, I guess. They didn't come all the way down to 155th, not at all in that corner down there. Going into the street, I guess,
Is that Holman? You know how when you go to turn and then you get Holman, it goes to the end, the dead end, and
Yeah, that's.
yeah, that one. It's rocky and all messed up.
Stop, pavement, it's like.
I'll check it out.
They stopped like a block from 100, you might say 154th Street. It is, might be that corner.
Paved up to a certain point.
They only did a certain point and did certain people's driveways even. And they stopped right there.
I have to check it.
2 houses in from that street. I'm like, they didn't come up all the rocky road, the two where the housing is,
Yeah.
and then off the corner where Kim was just talking
Okay,
about.
I have to go check. I'm not sure where that's at. I think it's back there by home.
Holman, yeah.
Yeah, I'll check. and
Going
see.
west from
I'll check and see if they're going to do that. Obviously, you're saying it wasn't done. I know we did Turner.
Yeah.
Right, Turner was done,
Turner was done,
but they stopped.
but we didn't go to Holman because Holman was not as near as bad as Turner. But I'll see if they're going to do it this year. If not, we'll get to it next year for sure. But we did. What? I know, we did fix some of Holman, but it was further to the south, right?
Yes.
We fixed the corner where the school's at, but we didn't come from the school going back to where. Right, we didn't do that, no. We only did a section in front of a few houses over there. Right, and then we didn't go further down, right. So,
We tried to take the shortcut coming
Well-
around that road because the light, you know.
yeah, which light? You mean the light off of, off of 159th, you mean?
Yeah, 100 rather than
Yeah.
come all the way to 159.
Well, I couldn't fix the shortcut this year, we have to see. I'll see if I can fix the shortcut by next year. If I don't fix it this year, I will fix it next year. And that's an easy problem. Because a lot of the roads going back to the west, we didn't do them all. We just got the worst. Turner was the absolute worst.
Yeah, it was.
It was terrible. And this group of homes over here is paying some high taxes with the new homes they have. And they hadn't been afforded streets in a long time, so.
Right.
All right, let me take another question. We're gonna be running out of time. Anybody got another question? Oh. Oh, all right. Well, I guess I answered everything. So we got a raffle here, so let me let Ms. Kim get here.
You don't pull it.
Oh, I just pulled the
You
ticket.
get to pull a ticket.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Where you get the tickets from?
Everybody got your ticket?
Yeah, I signed up already. Oh, okay.
All right, so here we go. The first one is 689058. 058.
Oh, okay. Just one per session.
Just one per session, okay.
One per session.
Okay.
You got a nice little roller. Nice.
Oh, nice. Woo, that's nice.
Oh, she got
All
it.
right.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I thank you all. If you should need anything, be sure to see Miss Kim. Don't hesitate as well. If it's something outside like the shortcut, you can call my office directly about the shortcut. I take care of that. You can't call Miss Kim about the shortcut, I do that one. But call me if you need something. That's what this is all about. Hey, little lady, how you doing? That's what meeting with you all is all about. That's what it should be about. This is considered like a town hall, short town hall meeting, and we'll have more of these. The social distance thing has got us with so many people per session that we can do this. So we got another group that's going to come in after you all, and I'll stay in touch with you. But call my office if you should need anything. I got a couple of cards, but Kim really can get a hold of me much easier. So I'll leave cards with Miss Kim. So you can see Miss Kim about cards if you want to get it home, okay? All right, everybody. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon if you need something. And certainly don't eat too much on Thanksgiving now. Now, I know I shouldn't have said that, right? Because we all don't eat too much on Thanksgiving.